Hello, Fishhead friends, Joe here. Today I thought I'd real quickly show you my freshly re-scaped 10-gallon tank. I did this a few nights ago, and I let it settle and kind of take a look at everything. And a few days later I added in a few more plants and moved a few things, a couple more rocks, that kind of stuff. The night I was doing it, it got real cloudy and I couldn't see in there real well. Um, so basically, what I got going here was I bought a brand new 10-gallon tank from the Petco dollar per gallon sale. I have very hard water, so all my fish tanks get a real ugly, white, crusty buildup around the edges, on the glass. I mean, everywhere. It's awful, and it takes a lot of work to clean it up. So I figured I'd start fresh. That way I could save time the night of re-scaping and not have to bother cleaning it that night. I'll get it cleaned up, and now I got a spare tank for something else. Um, so I got this. I'm sure you all know Bob Ross. I'm a pretty big fan of Bob Ross. I've watched him on Netflix for several years, and a few years ago I'd bought one Bob Ross shirt because I liked it. And then Bob Ross became real trendy, and a lot of my friends and family started buying me all these Bob Ross shirts and books and figures, and somebody gave me, I think my wife got me this Bob Ross chia head. And I had it sitting up on a shelf for a long time. I didn't use the chia seeds on them. But after a while, I got antsy to do some scaping, and I thought it would be a great idea to tie some moss to Bob's afro and just create a scape based around Bob Ross. It's kind of a small scale since it's just a 10-gallon. I initially was going to do a 29-gallon, and then that project turned into a 40-gallon because my wife's coworker gave me a 40 breeder. But then my wife decided she wanted goldfish, which I fully encourage, and that's pretty awesome. So then I just kind of got antsy, and I just wanted to throw it in a tank. This is just the initial styling. Eventually this will hopefully move into a bigger tank. We'll kind of see. In general, I wanted to stick to stones that had reddish tones. They don't all match perfectly. Some are more purple, some are pretty light and orangey, but I think in general it gives a real nice, somewhat uniform appearance. Now, I'm by no means an aquascaper. This is, well, it was weird, all those bubbles just let go. I wonder what that came from. This is my first attempt at actually really scaping a tank. I have other tanks where they're generally just kind of laid out to what looks nice, but this one I planned out. I only used plants I had, so the plant selection's not great. It's not filled in yet. But considering I used what I had, I got a lot of plants in here. And I took a lot of plants out of this tank. I'm pretty excited about it. I look forward to just playing around with it more. As far as the equipment, I got a simple heater on there. And this might be an odd one for a lot of people, but I have an undergravel filter rolling in here, which the tank previously had to begin with. I had it on both sides. Up in the left corner here, there used to be another uplift tube. I am a huge fan of undergravel filters. I'm not sure long-term how it'll work with the plants. This tank was struggling for a long time, and I'm not sure if the undergravel filter had anything to do with it, but I feel like, seeing everything's getting pulled down through the substrate, that it's just collecting all the nutrients where they need to be for the plants. So I feel like it should be a beneficial thing. In several years, maybe it clogs up and I have to redo it. But like I said, I hope to move this theme to a bigger tank down the road. But right now, I only have one portion of the undergravel filter plate, so that it's only about half the tank has the undergravel filter, and this one is just essentially, it's just planted normally. And I think this one section will still give me plenty of filtration. I don't plan on stocking this too heavy. I currently have 2 or 3 cherry shrimp. I put 3 in here. I've only seen 2, but the other one could be hiding. And then I have this one. Oh, he just darted away. I have 1 sparkling gourami. So it's going to be a very light stocking. I'm hoping to have a bunch of shrimp in here eventually. And I will add in some more fish, but I want it to be kind of low maintenance. But yeah, so I'll go over real quickly the plants I got. I just have standard Java moss on Bob's head. I would like to do I would have liked to do Sesquitertang, and I have some, but it wasn't thriving in my tanks. I have it in 3 or 4 tanks, and it's barely holding on, barely growing. Java moss was doing well. There's other mosses that would have been more suitable, but I had enough Java moss to kind of get it on. And I used thread to tie it on, just kind of wrapped it, did a few wraps, laid some more Java moss over the head, and did a few more wraps to hold it down. It'll take some time to fill in. I think it'll be pretty cool. I think it's going to be a lot of maintenance, actually, but we'll see how it goes. Otherwise, I got this one onion plant, just kind of to put something back there. It's actually popping up out of the tank. I have a 20-inch Phoenix Stingray on here, which I believe is medium to high-ish light for a 10-gallon. It lights up the tank real well, and it I assume it'll start growing my plants well. I'm hoping that this one will go better than my last one. Otherwise, I got some dwarf sage in the back there. This in between the rocks, I believe, is Ludwigia repens, or it could be a different Ludwigia. I forget now. I've been buying a lot of plants from my local Petco. I actually have a fantastic Petco, and the manager there, he'll clearance out all the plants once they start getting a little old. So I get all these plants for half off, and I just put a little time into letting them recoup, and for the most part it works out pretty good. Here's a crypt. I forget what kind this is in the corner. There's a Anubias nana and a Java fern windalev. Over here we got a Cryptocorin Wendetiis, however you want to say it. And there's some green and some red, and I have some little ones I also got from Petco. I assume they're just Wendetiis that are smaller. We'll see what happens with them. This plant I'm real excited about. This is dwarf 4-leaf clover. It should carpet real good, be real dense. I'll probably have to move some of these other little plants, like these little guys. This is just random stuff that kind of showed up in my tank. And it was actually I think it's dwarf baby tears, but it's tangled up in the salvinia that I got from a pet store, or from my local fish store. So I thought I'd throw that in. I don't inject CO2. I've heard you can do baby tears without CO2. We'll see what happens. I just have some other random little guys that have been holding on. Some more dwarf sage that's been that size for about a year. A little bit of crypt parva. This is Nubius, like just a variegated Nubius. Kind of looks like, I think, the Nubius Pinto. Not real sure, but again, I got this half price at Petco, and it's doing well. It's gotten a little bit bigger. It looks pretty cool, so I'm happy with it. We'll see what happens with that. And then these little guys over here, I'm pretty sure is Glosso. Again, that was a half-off purchase from Petco. That, unfortunately, that's all I have left of it. I had a mishap in the holding tank where I lost some plants, but that happens. And then that's just some dwarf chain sword, I think. I forget now, actually. But, so that's what I got. And when I scaped it, I wanted to make sure that I could view it from this side too, because right now I'm actually leaning on my bed. This is right on the side of my bed, and right in there, light's not on, but that's my eel tank there. So I get to look at both these tanks in my bedroom, which is pretty cool. But I wanted to make sure this tank was looked good from 2 angles. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the background. The beige of my wall just isn't doing it for me. I might paint it black sometime soon, or find a cool picture that kind of flows with the Bob Ross vibe to put back there, but we'll see what happens. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm excited to keep working on it and make it even better. Hopefully you guys like it. Let me know what you think. If you have any suggestions or whatever you got to say, let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you later. Have a good one.